Hello, welcome back to the Jeevers Golf Channel. My name is Hans Jeevers. I'm a fantasy golf contributor for ProGolfNow.com and Fansided.com. It's good to be with you today. Currently, it is Wednesday afternoon. We are less than 24 hours from the start of the Corrales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Yes, that's in the Dominican Republic, and that will be teeing off tomorrow morning. So we don't have the U.S. Open. We can't have it every week. Can't always have major championships, so they wouldn't be so special. But we do have the Corrales. The Corrales has been played for the last 4 years. The first 2 years the tournament was played, it was played on the Corn Ferry Tour. The last 2 years it has been on the PGA Tour schedule. This will be the first year it will be a standalone event. The prior years on the PGA Tour schedule, it was an alternate event of the WGC, the World Golf Championship event. So due to the fact it is a standalone event, we're going to have a little bit of a stronger field. PGA Tour gave a little bit more FedEx Cup points for this event. They're given a Masters invite, so that encourages players to come out. Not the Masters in November. If you win, you get to play the Masters in April. I know it's confusing. 2 Masters in 6 months. But nonetheless, does have a little bit more prestige, if you will. It is still a little bit of a weak field. Regardless, as PGA Tour fans and DFS fans, we will take it, right? So anyway, we have the Corrales in the Dominican Republic. It is a par 72, this golf course, a par 72 that is measured at 7,668 yards. That is rather long in length. Last year, I believe it ranked 5th out of 52 courses on the PGA Tour as far as overall length. So it is a long test. However, the heat of the Dominican Republic will make that ball fly a little further, but we are playing at sea level, so keep that in mind. This course's only defense usually is weather, because you have a golf course that was built primarily for amateur golfers to play 365 days a year. So it is not the sternest of tests in general terms for professional golfers. They'll try to toughen it up a little bit with pin placements, et cetera, et cetera. But the last 2 winning scores of this event were minus 18. So 18 under par has won the last 2 years on the PGA Tour, the Corrales event. Both of those events were played in rather timid weather conditions. As I was just about to make reference to, the defense of the course for the course is wind, weather off the coast. However, the last 2 years, weather hasn't been an issue, and based on what I see on the forecast, it will continue to be that way this year. Winds 5 to 10 miles an hour at the max here are expected throughout the tournament. However, this is a tropical area, so keep in mind to keep an eye on those weather forecasts, especially if you're playing showdown contests, FanDuel single round contests throughout the weekend. So keep that in mind. So as I mentioned, I am a contributor for Fansided and ProGolfNow.com, and I have 2 articles that are currently out there for DFS golf regarding this event. One is on Pro Golf Now regarding a DraftKings pricing perspective. The other is on Fansided regarding a FanDuel pricing perspective. I'd appreciate if you'd go check that out. I will touch base on some of my picks, obviously, in this video, but it will not be all of them. If you want to see all of them, go check out my articles. My content is always posted on Twitter as soon as it comes out on my Twitter page, which is Jeevers Golf, at Jeevers Golf, just like my YouTube channel, Jeevers Golf. I try to make it consistent. So anyway, go check that out at Jeevers Golf. If you follow me, you'll always see my content pop up as soon as it is published by the respective sites. So I also want to make sure that you know that my content is not behind a paywall. It is absolutely free. No $10.99 a month and all that stuff. I don't have that going on. It is absolutely free. So keep that in mind. So as I mentioned, rather long course. However, it has been torn apart by these PGA Tour professionals the last 2 years in the PGA Tour. So I'm not that concerned about that. We have this weather conditions that are rather timid, so not a big concern there. Do you have 2 par 5s that are 600 yards in length? That is rather long. However, I don't think it's going to be a problem for these guys overall. However, from a DFS perspective, maybe guys that hit it the longest may have more of a chance at eagle opportunities, which of course are better for you from a DFS perspective. So keep that in mind. So The shorter hitters that may be a little further back on those par fives could have an issue with getting eagles. They may get birdies instead. So you're talking about a difference of 11 to 7 points, I believe, on the DK side. So it's obviously a difference on FanDuel. I just don't know it offhand. So let's just go into some of my picks real quick. On the DK side of things, I rolled with Sam Burns to start off at $10,100. The 24-year-old American has 6 top 32 finishes in his last 8 events on the PGA Tour, including a 7th place result at the Safeway Open in his last event. The Safeway for him was his last tournament played. He did not play in the U.S. Open last week. Up next on DraftKings, Emiliano Grillo. Grillo, I'll tell you, is a great ball striker. Without looking at stats first, I'll just tell you, Grillo is a great ball striker. His Achilles heel has always been his putting. Putting has always been an issue. However, we have paspalum grass on these greens this week, and Emiliano has tended to putt well on those type of greens. Additionally, I think that Emiliano pops a little bit better in these weaker fields comparatively to a much stronger field, let's say the Memorial Tournament. I think he's going to have much more of a chance. An example would be at the Barracuda Championship a few weeks ago. I believe he topped 10 there. Barracuda is similar to this, I would say, in field strength. So Emiliano Grillo at 9,800. He has 2 top 9 finishes in the last 4 events, including a 3rd place result at the 3M Open, and I believe it was a 9th at the Barracuda, but you can check that out. So in relation to this week's current field, I like to look at the last 12 rounds played. I think that's important. Looking at the whole season stats, a player could have been hot 6 months ago. I don't care about that. How are they playing now? In relation to this week's current listed field, the last 12 rounds played on the PGA Tour, Grillo ranks 1st in ball striking, 1st in strokes gained off the tee, 4th in strokes gained tee to green, and 9th in strokes gained approach. Next up on DK, I'm rolling with Adam Schenk, $8,500. Schenk has made the cut in his last 7 events on the PGA Tour. Additionally, in those 7 events played, Schenk has 5 top 41 finishes, including a 12th place result at the Barracuda. Barracuda, same type of weak field. I think Schenk will take advantage of a weaker field here. I know top 41 finishes don't seem to pop off the page. Well, top 41, that's not that great. Well, Schenk has played in a lot of much more difficult events as far as field strength. He's stepping down a level or so at least. I think he'll pop this week and play well. Additionally, he's played all 4 years that the Corrales has been played. The first 2 when he was a Korn Ferry player, and the last 2 as a PGA Tour player. He made the cut in all 4 events. So I like to see that. He did finish 12th at the 2017 play of this event, the Corrales. So he obviously likes this course. One more I'll give you on the DK side of things. Seamus Power, $7,500. Power has 3 top 27 finishes in his last 5 events on the PGA Tour, including a 9th place result at the Barracuda Championship. Additionally, Power finished 5th at the 2018 Corrales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. So he has exhibited some ability to play well on this course as well. So I think Seamus has a chance here to perform at a high level again. Turning over to the FanDuel side of things, I'll tell you that I started off my picks with Mackenzie Hughes. Mackenzie Hughes, $11,500 on the FanDuel side of things. The Canadian has been playing outstanding. He's played great in some FedEx Cup events. He made it to the Tour Championship. I remember, I think he hit a 10, 15-foot putt, a long-range putt, in the BMW to make it inside the top 30 to qualify for the Tour Championship. That told me a little something about him. He's got a little moxie to get himself to the Tour Championship. He did miss the U.S. Open cut on the number, I believe, last week. I'm not that concerned, okay, because he is a step up in talent level comparatively to a lot of these guys in this Corrales field. So Mackenzie Hughes, 3 top 14 finishes his last 4 events on the PGA Tour. The one missed cut at the U.S. Open was the one event he did not finish in the top 14. He finished 10th at the BMW. I was just making reference to that. Also, I like the fact that Hughes was a runner-up to Graham McDowell at the 2019 Corrales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. So the Canadian obviously likes this track. Next up, another guy that played well recently and played well at the U.S. Open, Adam Long. You may remember Long. He came out of nowhere a year or so ago, I believe. I remember he was like 300 to 1, and he beat Phil Mickelson in the Desert Classic in California. Came out of nowhere and showed some moxie, showed some guts. He was right neck and neck with Mickelson down the stretch, and he beat him straight up. And I think a lot of people thought he would fold and wilt, and he didn't. He tends to like these paspalum greens that we're going to be playing this week. Tends to like the coast. He's racked up 7 top 31 finishes on the PGA Tour since the beginning of February, including a 13th place finish at the United States Open last week at Winged Foot. And I can assure you, this course in the Dominican will be nothing compared to, as far as difficulty level, compared to the Winged Foot track last week. If he can keep up some confidence from his quality major performance at the U.S. Open, by the way, that was his best finish in a major championship. Let's see him step it up here this week in a much weaker field. I think Long has the chance to do just that. Next up on FanDuel, continuing in the kind of the higher price range, the guy I like probably the most on this slate, and I'll be playing him on DraftKings as well, Pat Perez, 44-year-old American. He has 3 top 23 finishes in his last 5 events on the PGA Tour, including a 9th place result at the Safeway Open 2 weeks ago. In relation to this week's current listed field, the last 12 rounds played on the PGA Tour, Perez ranks 3rd in scrambling, 3rd in GIR, 5th in bogey avoidance, and 8th in strokes gained putting. He recently altered his putting technique, and I think it's really helped him out. I think he finished in the top 7 in putting in his last tournament, which was the Safeway. And lastly, on FanDuel, I'll give you Will Gordon at $8,400. The American has only played 8 tournaments on the PGA Tour since February. He's not a full-time member of the PGA Tour just yet. So he has 8 events played. In those 8 events played on the PGA Tour, Gordon has 4 top 27 finishes, including a 3rd place result at the Travelers Championship. I think Gordon has played pretty darn well in those events that he's been able to play and enter. And if he can play well in some of the fields that I've seen him play well in, I think he can step down in this event and really pop for like a top 15, a top 10, and at a price of $8,400 on FanDuel. That is a very good price. So we'll leave it at that. Those selections, go check out my articles on ProGolfNow.com and Fansided.com. You'll be able to see all of my selections for this week's Corrales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. Just love that name. It's a mouthful. But anyway, thank you so much for dropping by. If you don't mind hitting that like button, I'd certainly appreciate it. You don't mind subscribing, that'd be great if you're new to the channel. All my subscribers, thank you so much for coming and checking me out. I'm hoping that my advice each and every week via my written articles and via my YouTube channel are helping you out. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and let's enjoy this week's PGA Tour Championship, PGA Tour schedule, that being the Corrales. It won't be the U.S. Open. We'll make the best of it. We're DFS Open golfers, and that's all we care about. DFS golf. Take care.